You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Every day leading up to SEC football media days, we are going to take a look at a different position group for the 2022 LSU Tigers. And today, we'll take a look at the running backs. Yesterday, we looked at LSU's quarterbacks and now the guys to whom they will hand the ball. This is a really fascinating position group for LSU because you have a ton of talent, a ton of promise, not a ton of productivity yet. But that's been pretty common for LSU at the running back position. Of course, Nick Brissett in 2018 got his chance to be a starter, was a 1,000-yard rusher. In 2019, it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire's turn. He became All-SEC and a first-round draft pick. 2020 was sort of a weird COVID year, as we all well know, and last year, Ty Davis-Price made the most of his opportunity, which really started in the second half of the season. He leaves LSU as the single-game rushing record that he actually broke the SEC single-game rushing record for his 300-yard performance against Florida. For the season, Ty Davis-Price ran for 1,003 yards, averaged 4.8 yards a carry, and was selected by the San Francisco 49ers. Ty Davis-Price is out the door. Your second leading rusher a year ago was Corey Kiner, the freshman out of Cincinnati, who entered the transfer portal and returned home to Cincinnati. He is now a running back for the Bearcats. So your top two rushers from a year ago are out the door. Your leading returning rusher, former walk-on Josh Williams, who a year ago carried 23 times for just 107 yards and averaged 4.7 yards per carry. Williams is your leading returning rusher. He has been a good team guy who earned a spot on this roster and has earned opportunities. But if LSU offensively is going to maximize its potential, it's going to need its star players to play like stars, and that starts with John Emery. We know John Emery's story. He came to LSU as a 5-star out of Destrehan High School. He was the highest-rated running back to sign with LSU since Leonard Fournette signed with LSU back in 2014. John Emery, as a freshman, got caught in the shuffle behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire in 2019 in the greatest offense that any of us have ever seen. His sophomore year was supposed to be his time to shine, but he started just 3 times in the 9 games in which he played. Had a really fine game against running back against Vanderbilt, where he had 12 carries for 103 yards. But that was about the peak of it. And then last year, of course, we all know LSU was preparing for John Emery to be its starter. And then the week of the UCLA game, they found out he was academically ineligible. He took the time to get his grades in order, to reshape his body. Now is it finally time for John Emery to reach that promise? We've seen it with the guys I just mentioned, with Nick Brissett, with a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We saw it last year with Ty Davis-Price. When they got their opportunity, finally, that they waited for to be the bell cow, they took advantage of it. Can John Emery do it this year? Well, if there's one guy that'll challenge him for that throne, it could be a guy that was not even on the roster a year ago, and that's Noah Cain. Similar to John Emery, Noah Cain, who's a Baton Rouge native, transferred to IMG Academy, was the number 3 running back in the country, the number 43 overall prospect when he signed with Penn State, showed up in Happy Valley as a freshman back in 2019 and popped. He played in 10 games, started 1 time, and showed with a 5.3 yards per carry average that he was ready to play big-time football. In 2020, it was supposed to be his time to take over, and on the first drive of the season opener against Indiana, he suffered a season-ending injury which lingered all the way into the 2021 season as a junior at Penn State, where he ended up playing in 13 games but made just 6 starts. He never reclaimed or claimed his throne as the starting running back for Penn State, entered the transfer portal, and now he's at LSU. Noah Cain is 5'10", 220 pounds. He looks physically like what Darius Geis looked like running the football. I'm not going to tell you that that's how it's going to go for him, but physically, if you're looking for a physical comp, that's what he looks like. 5'10", 220, bowling ball who can also burn you down the field. That's Noah Cain. If anyone's going to challenge John Emery to be the bell cow, it would be Cain. That will be a very interesting matchup to watch in fall camp to see how that plays out. And then you have two guys that really look a lot like each other, Tre Bradford and Armoni Goodwin. Now, they've taken different paths. Tre Bradford, if you remember, signed with LSU in 2020. As a freshman, he played in 5 games. His start came in the win over Ole Miss in the season finale of the COVID year. It was also the best outing of his career. Rushed 9 times for 53 yards. Had a touchdown reception against Florida in the Fog game in Gainesville. Well, Goodwin hit the transfer portal. Bradford hit the transfer portal, went to Oklahoma, but never played for Oklahoma, came right back to LSU and got eligible, but played in just 1 game. He played in the regular season finale against Texas A&M, where he rushed twice for 11 yards. Just couldn't get healthy and get on the field. Kind of caught in the shuffle. Bradford is one of those guys that's a quick twitch guy at 6 foot, 210 pounds, and he could make an impact similar to Armoni Goodwin. Armoni Goodwin was part of a 2 running back class a year ago alongside Corey Kiner, but Kiner was the freshman that made the impact during his first season in Baton Rouge. Despite that impact, as we mentioned, Kiner has transferred out. He's at Cincinnati. Goodwin remains similar to Bradford, although a little shorter. Armoni Goodwin's 5'8", 198 pounds. He's a speedy running back that can also catch the football. Godwin, a season ago, played in 6 games, did not start, rushed 16 times on the season for just 65 yards, and caught a pair of passes for 5 yards. One of the things to focus on with this group of running backs is to remember that Brian Kelly, in his offense at Notre Dame, you can look at what Kyron Williams did a season ago for the Irish. Kyron Williams was a really good running back, a really good pass catcher out of the backfield for Notre Dame. If Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock, if their offense looks like what we've seen from the two of them in the past, then you're going to see a running back room that is going to catch the ball. Kyron Williams, in his junior year at Notre Dame, caught 42 passes for 359 yards and 3 touchdowns. LSU's running backs a year ago didn't combine for 42 receptions. Which of these guys can prove to be a valuable pass catcher out of the backfield as well might just indicate who's going to end up winning that job and be a key part of this offense. They're going to have a new quarterback starting, obviously, this year. You got a reshuffled offensive line, and you're losing your bell cow running back. You're replacing a ton of production from a year ago with that offense. Whoever establishes themselves at running back is going to be a massive part of the success of the LSU offense, as we've seen each of the last 4 years, and really for the last quarter century at LSU, if you start with Kevin Falk and the importance of the running back position. Who is next? Very likely John Emery. That's where your money should be, on John Emery having the opportunity for a breakout season. But if he falters, you have capable, talented guys behind him. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.